The opinions expressed on this program are those of the program hosts and guests and are not necessarily those of WSTU. WSTU does not endorse products that may be mentioned. Any reproduction or retransmission of this broadcast is strictly prohibited without written consent of WSTU. It's time for Martin County Movers and Shakers. And now, here's your host.
Well, hello, everyone, and welcome back to Martin County Movers and Shakers, brought to you by White Glove Moving and Storage, where we are proud community partners and are thrilled to bring to you this broadcast each and every week to give you the who's who of Martin County and let you know the different events and projects, all those details that you've been dying to know about. We make it so easy coming through the airwaves. And I am just elated that I have a fellow MC extraordinaire in the studio with me today. I've gotten a chance to know him over the years through the Martin County Realtors Association. And today we have Stephen No of Premier Realty in the house.
Hi, Anna. Good morning. How's everything
Hello.
going?
Oh, it's fantastic. We're really interested in knowing how it is you have been able to just go headfirst into the world of real estate, make it your own. In fact, last year you were awarded a fabulous prize on behalf of the association, correct?
Yes, that's right. That's right.
Don't be modest. Share with us all.
It was 2018's Realtor of the Year.
What? Oh my goodness. And how long have you been doing real estate at this point?
Well, now into my full 6th year of selling real estate here in my my hometown. So it's been really great.
It doesn't get any better than that. It's like when you know all the back roads.
That's right.
You can sell some property.
Yeah, it's like the fastest way to get to Chick-fil-A. That's the most important thing, right?
It's the strategic philosophy behind it all. And in this 6 years' time, you've obviously made some stellar connections.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's really a testament to our town. You know, it's really nose to nose, toast to toast community still. You know, all the reasons when you're growing up here in the 80s that made Martin County, Palm City, Stewart a little too small. When you're an adult and you come back and you're raising children, it's all what makes it the best place to live. You know, people, it's a real community where you can lay real roots and become a part of that community pretty quickly.
So true. So true. And being that you are so vested in the community, you know a lot of people, it is a great fit that you be behind one of the signature projects that is transpiring downtown.
Yes, I'm very pleased to have the opportunity to represent House Stuart, which is located right on the St. Lucie River on Southeast Seminole Street. Now, it's the portion of Southeast Seminole Street to the right on the east side, and we have just a fantastic piece of land looking out about 170 degrees out from the left, the Roosevelt Bridge, and all the way to the right, the turn, making the turn over to Sewell's Point. So really excited about the project, and it's up and running so far. So
yeah, because progress is coming along splendidly.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that. It's you know, we broke ground some months ago, and now from the street, people are really seeing the progress. We're actually pouring the second floor slab. And, you know, this is going to be a 4-story building. So we're halfway to getting the building topped off. Officially, we've got a summer 2020 completion date for everybody that's interested. But right now we're rocking and rolling. We'd invite anybody to come by and take a look at the site and the progress.
And that is actually an opportunity on Wednesdays, Fridays, and Sundays.
Oh, that's correct. So we have a design and sales center really close to the property, located at 22 Southeast Seminole Street. And if you're a local and you're familiar with 18 Seminole Restaurant, that's right next door. So we are open Wednesdays from 3 to 6, Fridays from 4 to 7, and then Sundays from 1 to 4, the traditional open house days. Sure. And that's an opportunity for people to come down to learn more about the progress and the project House Stuart itself. Get a chance to take a look at some of the renderings, the floor plans, some of the fit and finishes that we're going to be putting into this high-end project. You know, an opportunity to touch and feel and actually put hands on what will be a reality in about, you know, all of 14 months.
Right.
Yeah.
And there's always something so fun about being able to customize one space. And so to know that that's obviously an option, that's tremendous.
Yeah.
Now, this project has a unique bragging right, if you will, because only a few new construction projects throughout the entire state has this to boast.
Right. So, when we are looking at a riverfront property, we're really fortunate to be able to get a permit to put in a full marina facility with water and power. And what the project is going to feature is 15 slips ranging from 37 feet all the way up to 80 feet. So if you've got that typical, like a 67 Marlowe or Big Bertram, needs to draw deep water,
Right.
we've got it for this particular customer. Now, most people probably will be looking at the 37-foot slip, but, we had to go through a very painstaking process because the state of Florida is very protective of their waterways, and rightfully so. But we are really pleased to be able to have the opportunity to offer future residents of River House Stuart the opportunity to dock their vessel right behind the waterfront building. So, that'll be really great.
And since there's 15 slips, let's talk about how many spaces are actually going to be created in the 3 different buildings that are going to be brought to life.
Sure. So River House Stuart, although we think of it as a condo project, it's actually going to be comprised of 3 buildings, buildings A, B, and C. Now, building A is going to be a 15-unit luxury waterfront building right on the St. Lucie. The north side is going to be the rear of the building, facing straight out to that panoramic view. But we're also going to have building B, which is going to be 3 townhomes situated right onto Southeast Seminole Street. And then building C, which are going to be 2 more additional townhomes, also fronting Seminole Street. And the vision for this project is to really embrace the heritage of Stewart. It's a new project, very high end, but we also wanted to embrace the architecture that's typical of that area. If you know the area, the old Colorado Inn and Steve Vitale's, those rental,
so charming,
beautiful.
Yeah.
And what we're trying to do is to inject new construction, new opportunity without offending the history and heritage of downtown Stuart. So that's what we're going for in buildings B and C. You'll get a more Key West traditional feel in building A on the waterfront.
Oh, well, that's good. Give it some distinction.
That's right.
Yet a beautiful time. Make it cohesive.
That's right. Exactly. And fit the character of downtown Stuart. We, honestly, we had a lot of meetings trying to figure out with, just local, really great name, Dan Braden, the design architect on this, had a lot of meetings trying to figure out, hey, nobody knows better than Dan the history and heritage of what Stewart is and what we're trying to protect. So we've tried to have synergy between the new and the traditional, and that's what we're going to hope to deliver. And I hope people around town, when they take a look at the renderings, and you can look at it online at www.riverhousestewart.com if you'd like to learn more about what this project is going to be and look like. That's really what we aim for, is protecting the heritage of downtown Stuart.
And I am certain and confident that it has been well executed, because it wouldn't have been approved if it wasn't.
Exactly. And I got to say, you hear a lot of things about Martin County and the city of Stuart and how difficult it is from time to time to develop. It's not so much that the process is difficult. Of course, any new project is going to be difficult. It's making sure that it fits the character, fits what Stuart and Martin County is all about without proliferating and over expanding. And I have to say, working with the city of Stuart has been a pleasure. There's some give and some take, and everybody has been really on board about seeing that this is the right type of project for our very unique, downtown area. So we've been really happy about that.
And good accolades, because it isn't an easy job as a city enforcer to try and to keep with what the town stands for. And yet here we are going to be inviting, nearly 20 new spaces.
That's correct.
That's going to bring a lot of life to the downtown. That's going to make it really, I can just see like the perfect, well, I hope to become best friends with whomever gets one of those front Seminole Street views. I'll just mosey right on in.
Yeah.
Thanks.
And what's really nice, Anna, is that, while we're going to have the waterfront ultra luxury building, the pricing is going to start at $1,650,000 and go up to just under $2 million. Those townhouses are going to start right around $850,000 and go up to $1.3 million. But the fit and finish in all 3 buildings is going to be the same. And we're talking about quartz finishes, wood tile. If you'd like to elect marble on the flooring, you've got hundreds of different combinations. And some of the early adapters of this building are going to have a distinct opportunity to get in and customize it to their liking, using our in-house designer, who's a family member of the builder, and really put their stamp on these buildings, and really pick out their fit and finishes to their liking. And that's all included in the asking price. We're turning these units over turnkey, not designer ready, but turnkey. So literally, for people looking to replace their single family homes, go to something less maintenance wise, we're literally going to help them design what they want it to look like, and then turn the keys over, and that's it, all for the same asking price. So there's no, hey, look, this is tier 3, this is tier 5, this is tier 7, and all of a sudden your purchase price balloons. No, we're going to cap it out, and it's going to be turnkey ready.
And I have conversations all the time with folks that their kids now are graduating from college and they're just at a different point in their life, yet they're still young at heart. They want to enjoy.
Absolutely.
That just seems like an ideal fit
Yeah.
for a number of those types of families that are now empty nesters in a lot of ways.
That's precisely correct. You know, in the few months, the last 6 to 8 months, we've seen interest grow leaps and bounds, you know, coming to the Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday open houses that we've had at 22 East Seminole. But we're finding that most of the people interested in these units are those people that are empty nesters, as you mentioned.
Yeah.
And they're looking for something easier. You know, they've essentially paid their dues, quote unquote.
Absolutely.
You know, mowed the lawn, spent countless hours in the garage, you know, tinkering with wood rot or things like that. It's time for them to really just enjoy life. Maybe they're thinking of traveling, you know, and that's what we're trying to turn over, is the very best in fit and finish, but also juxtaposed with the sense of being able to lock up and go. So that's what House Stuart is going to be about for the correct buyer for this type of project.
Very interesting. And, you know, another sweet spot about customers that in that demographic that fit that profile, if you will, is that they typically don't move themselves. So as White Glove Moving and Storage, and being that we do specialize in a degree of luxury that other locals don't necessarily, you know, highlight as one of their expertise, it certainly seems to be a good fit. And that's actually how you and I have gotten to know each other over the years.
Absolutely.
To be able to lend some professional assistance, because when you just finish a gorgeous venue such as this, now you're inside House Stuart. The last thing you want is a ding on your wall or a scratch on those gorgeous new wood tiles. So henceforth, you hire the professionals at White Glove and you make the move easy, and you're off enjoying a delicious dinner at the boathouse.
Well,
right?
That's the idea, is to turnkey and go. And you know, over the years, I've been through this the last 6+ years. You know, I've been very blessed. You know, it's really gives me a you know, sense of pride to be able to represent where I grew up. You know, my if people recognize the last name, my father was a gastroenterologist here in town for 35 years. My brother's a gastroenterologist here in town. You know, so we're really, you know, and we all have children, and we're 3 generations into the town now.
Aww.
And being able to serve the type of clientele that I do, you know, and as you know, I've referred my clientele to White Glove Moving and Storage for those reasons. You know, you want to get it done right. The last thing I want to hear back from my client is, you know, great experience through the buying or selling experience, but once we got moved in, it was a little bit of a nightmare, because, you know, I always tell my clients, my job is to take one thing off your plate. This is often the most emotional thing that people go through in the last, say, 10 years. It's usually, people's biggest asset. So, you know, when you're paired up with someone, you know, like me or like White Glove, you know, rest assured that one thing's just going to come off your plate. You don't have to worry about it, you know. And that's where I felt very blessed to be able to work with people like you, your company, you know, the type of contractors that I'm around, inspectors, things like that. We have essentially a preferred list of people that understand and get what our area is about. And you know, we're very lucky to have that, you know. You
have to be able to know that the reputation is going to be an extension of you, because you're there representing your buyer, your seller. So in the past 6 years of real estate, having just come off of the 2018 Realtor of the Year, which is huge.
Thank you again.
What would you say is one of your most, I mean, obviously this project is going to be show stopping, yet the project isn't really going to be unveiled in its entirety till summer of 2020. So what would you say is one of your favorite experiences thus far in being a realtor?
Well, you know, it's as I'd say, every deal is different, right? And
true.
Over the last 6 years, you know, if I do 50 deals a year, we're talking about hundreds of deals in the last 6 years. But I think the ones that really stand out to me are ones that come to me from a referral, and they don't necessarily know me, and they say, you come very, very highly recommended. And I think those are the ones I really like delivering on because they've come through a family or friend or a former client. And actually, the one that I can think of right now is I just had the opportunity to serve one of my mom's tennis buddies from back in the 80s.
Oh,
And
adorable.
yeah, and she's making the transition over to Sand Hill Cove. So,
Oh,
she's really
so
stressed
tough.
about,
It's
getting her
sensitive.
house sold.
Mhm.
And we were able to, within 5 days of having it on the market, get 6 offers. And I was able to represent both the buyer and the seller and help her transition over. So, it's not so much, I could tell you about a couple of $6 million homes I've sold, or, the type of volume that we do. But I think it's those sort of stories that keep me, excited about the business. It's serving these type of people and helping them move on to their next, step in life.
Yes.
And again, like taking that one thing off the table. So, and to hear, the side bonuses, I get to hear stories about what my mom was like back in the 80s, crushing the ball over the
Right?
net from these people.
Oh, so nice.
Yeah. So that's kind of the side bonus about, working with people that are referred to you from former clients or family and friends. So.
Well said. And that is one of the things that I know personally when it comes to that professional relationship that I have with folks. And when they say, you moved my mom for me,
Yeah.
and she was head over heels about the experience, it makes you feel really proud of the work you do. And it makes you just want to go out and keep doing it some more.
Absolutely. And the exciting thing about real estate, and I hear this a lot from brand new realtors, is I don't know what my day is going to look like the next day. You can plan, maybe you have 3 showing appointments, 2 listing appointments, but then in between somebody can call you out of nowhere and your day shifts. And I think if it's for somebody that's looking to get into real estate and you think, is this for me? I think the best type of realtors out there are those people who can be flexible with their day and really take it as it comes. And if you like that sort of thing, my former career was as a litigation attorney, and you really had to be on your feet. You had to move and think on your feet. If you like that type of thing, being a realtor or being a sales agent is probably a good fit for you. And I think that if you have the energy to move forward, kind of like you and I, we don't need too many cups of coffee to get going.
Although I will take 2.
Yeah, put me down for 2 as well. But I think real estate's a great trade and a great profession for people who can really operate at their very best on the go. So
now this year, already 2019, we're not even that far into it. Although my goodness, we blinked and we're halfway through April.
I know.
Was a little trying for you personally. One of your closest mentors.
Yes.
We just lost. Give us a little detail, if you would. I mean, because
Sure.
here you are trying right now just to tell people that real estate could be a great career for them
Yeah.
too. You had that tutelage.
Absolutely. And as I mentioned, prior to selling real estate, I was an attorney down in Miami for about 10 years. And what brought us up here was my son, Jacob, who's now 6, was born. And my wife at the time and I looked at each other and said, look, we really can't raise him here in Miami.
Yeah.
And so we said, look, let's head back to Martin County. We know it. We love it. It's great for kids. But there was one thing I knew. It was that my time as an attorney was over. I was done fighting, and I have so many great attorney friends, and they love their profession. I loved, representing my clients with that zealous advocacy, but I knew my time was up fighting other people's fights. So my wife at the time is a real estate attorney, and she's actually an attorney at Crary Buchanan here in town. And she said, look, if I'm going to start these deals, why don't you close them? And I said, oh, that seems like a good idea. And I got into real estate and invariably had to choose a brokerage. And there's so many great brokerages here in town. I want to say that, it was just trying to find a good fit for myself. And I essentially stumbled upon Premier Realty Group, because when you're not in the business, it's not really forefront. Even having grown up here, a lot of us know Premier Realty Group as the one on Sewell's Point with the Santa Claus on the roof every year.
And that's a good distinction too.
Absolutely. And that's the way I knew it. And I had made my decision to go in, and I promptly met, the broker at the time, Stephen Bonner, who you mentioned, been in the family since 1958. And I knew right away, for me, Premier Realty Group was the best fit. And part of that was knowing that there were other big time producers there that would help me with the nuances and the realities of selling real estate. And Steve, Big Steve, as we call him, was a really, for people that know him here in town, he was an icon, a guy that lived the lives of two men and was bigger than life. And from the get-go, I knew that he would be a great source of knowledge. And that was important to me because when you're brand new at a trade, it would be real estate, practicing law, moving, the problem is you don't know what you don't know. And it can come at you sideways or from behind you and bite you. And I knew being surrounded by other producers and a mentor like Steve Bonner was extremely important to me. And I really credit Premier and Steve Bonner for getting me, to a graduate level of study, like very quickly. And I think that's what a lot of the agents at Premier have found, is that even though you're working on your first deal, you don't get that dreaded question, is this your first time, selling real estate? No, because you're armed with those set of skills, a particular set of skills to be able to address the type of questions and the inquiries that the buying public or the selling public wants to know. And like I said, it's not just at Premier. There's some really great mentors here. We see it at the Treasure Coast Realtors Association meetings, just really unique real estate market because the agents are so well heeled and we really play well together. I really have to say that is, you'll go into other markets, and I'm not going to mention them, but
it can be vicious.
Yeah, it can
I've
be.
seen it firsthand.
We've seen it on TV.
Yeah.
And a lot of times people think that that's the way realtors have to act. And here in Martin County, it's just not the case. So we really have a synergy among professionals. And I think it starts at the individual brokerages from the top. And that's
right.
To circle back to talking about Steve Bonner, I think it really started with, the culture at Premier and trickled down. And that part of that culture was training. So, and that's really a message, anyone thinking about getting into real estate, check out all the brokerages in town, sit down with the broker, talk about the training, what's offered, what are you expected to learn, what are they going to provide you with support. And I know a lot of people are interested in getting to real estate. It's a good time to do it.
Right.
And those are the sort of things you start with training. Yeah, I think that's the keystone to success in this business.
When I introduced you onto the broadcast here today, I had mentioned you're a fellow MC extraordinaire, and tomorrow is going to be our trivia night with the Martin County Realtors of the Treasure Coast at the Twisted Tuna. It's always a sold out event.
Always.
Brokers are part of the drive behind it. They get their agents involved, and it's really quite fun. There is already a consensus that our Steve is the MC until he passes the torch, which I hope one day would be to me. If he had to pick, I'm not. You're only on air. I'll hold you to it. But so was it your litigation experience then that gave you such confidence in a microphone? Because I've always been dying to know, and now hearing your story, I'm thinking it is.
It's funny. I think a lot of the things that we end up doing as an adult really start at childhood. And it's funny because people, when they meet me now, say, oh, you're so funny and outgoing and you're so confident. But, if you ask my mom, I was the type of kid when I was 4, 5, and 6 that would hide behind her legs, and just kind of peek out. And it was always yes and no answers and no elaboration. I think what really helped me was when I went to school at Vero Beach, St. Edwards. And getting on stage and doing speech contests. I think that's what really pushed me out of my comfort zone.
Fight the stage fright.
Yeah, you had to fight it. Just fight it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. One more time with the website for River House Stuart.
Absolutely. It's www.riverhousestewart.com.
Opening in summer of 2020. You want to learn more about it. Stephen No, Premier Realty. He's the guy to talk to about it. How do we find you?
You can give me a direct call at 772-485-0266 or look me up on our brokerage's website, www.premierrealtygroup.com.
Thank you so much for being a guest on yet another great edition of Martin County Movers and Shakers, brought to you by White Glove Moving and Storage. I'm Anna Valencia Tillery. Until next week, cheers.